Former U.S. Vice President testifies at grand jury. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. Former Vice President Mike Pence testified yesterday to a federal grand jury investigating the aftermath of the 2020 elections and the actions of then-President Donald Trump and others. The testimony marks a momentous junction in the criminal investigation and the first time in modern history a vice president has been compelled to testify about the president that he served under. Pence testified for more than 7 hours. And leading up to January 6 of 2021, Trump repeatedly pressured him unsuccessfully to block the 2020 elections result. Both Pence and Trump went to court to hold off the subpoena, but trial and appellate judge ordered Pence to testify about his direct conversations with the then president. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang has announced that the Police High Command has now established a special team of investigators to track down and capture suspects behind the recent series of attacks on Guardsman Group courier vehicle which is delivering cash to financial institutions. And during his sectorial presentation in the House of Representatives, Dr. Chang said the authorities are concerned about the attack which have sparked fear in the country's financial sector. Dr. Chang says intelligence has revealed a worrying trend where high-profile criminal gangs have now formed alliances to carry out ATM robberies. And he says the High Command has been provided with the necessary support system to target and smash the criminal network behind the ATM heists. Meanwhile, the Police High Command has ramped up its enforcement apparatus under the new Road Traffic Act to reduce road fatalities. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang said that the police are out and there has been an increase in the number of tickets issued to people who breach the new Road Traffic Act. Dr. Chang adds that the ministry is now working to improve the traffic ticketing system. Meanwhile, the beryllium employee arrested in connection with a series of robberies of Guardsman Group armored vehicle was not positively identified during an identification parade which was held last week. The witness also failed to identify 2 other suspects in the case. The ID parade was held last Thursday in relation to the February 27 armed robbery of a courier truck at the Jamaica National Bank in the Portmore Pines Plaza in Portmore in St. Catherine. 2 guards were shot, 1 died by the hoodlums who made off with about $10 million. The deceased Lawrence Mackenzie was buried over the weekend. The beryllium employee who remains behind bars was arrested earlier this month during an operation in St. Anne. And it's reported that the employee, a treasurer officer at the company, was found with $500,000. 7 suspects have been detained in connection with the attack on the JN Bank and nearby Scotiabank in Portmore. $23 million was stolen during the BNS heist. 2 men are in custody after a firearm and several rounds of ammunition was seized by the St. Catherine South Police during an operation in Britain, Portmore in St. Catherine on Tuesday, April 25th. Reports from the Portmore Police are that about 10:15 p.m., lawmen were conducting a vehicular checkpoint operation in the area when they conducted a search of a Honda Civic motor car. The search yielded a .38 revolver which was loaded with 5 rounds of ammunition and 59mm rounds concealed in a black bag. Shane Mackenzie, 28-year-old of Wildman Street, has been charged with the murder of O'Neill West, also known as Mad Max, on Summit Lane. Mackenzie has also been charged with unlawful possession of a firearm, unlawful possession of ammunition, and criminal use of a firearm. According to police, West was walking down the street on March 28 at 11:25 in the morning when he was approached by Mackenzie and a second individual who had a brief talk with him. The men allegedly shot and killed Mr. West. Mackenzie was detained on April 15 and charged on April 24th as a result of the investigations. Investigators are now searching for those involved in the murder of a cattle farmer in St. Elizabeth. 62-year-old Vernon Smith of Vineyard District, Black River, was found murdered at his home on Wednesday morning. The body was discovered in a pool of blood with bullet wounds sometime after 8 o'clock, and no motive has been established for that killing. 2 men were shot dead by gunmen in Golden Heights in West Kingston on Tuesday evening. They have been identified as 66-year-old Lawson Henry, a woodworker from Torrington Park in Kingston 5, and Alva Downey, otherwise called Tracy, 52 years old, a landscaper from Golden Heights. Reports are that about 6:15, Henry went to shower in a nearby gully, and on his way back he was pounced upon by men armed with guns who opened gunfire, hitting him in the upper body. And this took place over there in West Kingston. Now that area is tense again. Meanwhile, a practical nurse was yesterday shot and killed along the Sandy Bay Main Road in Clarendon. She has been identified as 25-year-old Avagay Ellis. and it's reported that about 1:45, Miss Ellis was on her way home when a black Honda motor car drove up behind her. A man exited the vehicle with a firearm and opened gunfire, hitting her all over the body. And it is said this is a revenge killing, as Miss Ellis' family was advised to leave the community after her brother was charged in connection with a murder that occurred in Rasta Corner in Sandy Bay. And yesterday was the anniversary of that murder. Onto sports, True Juice got off to a flying start in the Jamaica Football Federation Tier 2 competition on Saturday, hammering Wadada United 5-0 in their opening game played at Irwin High School in St. James. Falmouth United and Albion Mountain FC played out a 0-0 draw, while the game between Racing United and Downs was not played due to a waterlogged field at the St. Catherine Prison Oval. Mead Forest FC, who were suspended by the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation after they applied to be part of the competition, beat Portlanders 3-0 at Lynch Park. Brownstown, who qualified for the competition through the playoff earlier this season, started with a win, blanking Baptist Alliance 2-0 at Drax Hall. Treasure Beach, one of the beaten semi-finalists last season, beat Rena 2-1 at Landilo Sports Complex, with all three goals coming within a 6-minute span in the first half, while Lime Hall Academy started with a win by edging Hopewell United 1-0 at Orchard Sports Complex, with Akeem Hines scoring that game's only goal in the 15th minute. And on to the exciting NBA. The number 8 team Miami Heat knock off number 1 Milwaukee Bucks on Wednesday night 128-126 in Game 5, and now move into the next round where they will face the New York Knicks. Jimmy Butler scored 42 to lead the Heat to victory, and this is a big disappointment for the Milwaukee fans who were expected to win the NBA championship this year again. But Jimmy Butler said that the Miami Heat don't listen to any sports reporter or expert predictions. We just do what we do, he said. And man, this is one of the biggest upsets in NBA history. The Knicks also knock off Cleveland Cavaliers 106-95 and are going to the second round for the first time in 10 years. And this now set up a big rivalry clash between Miami and the Knicks in a renewal of one of the classic rivalries in NBA history. Game 1 will tip off this Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. at Madison Square Garden, and that means I won't be wearing my Miami Heat jersey for a little while because I need to stay safe in this New York City. The Heat is playing extremely good and is also expected to beat the Heat. But the Heat is not going to be easy to beat, and the Knicks could find themselves in the same position as Milwaukee Bucks. Anyway, if you're missing news on this radio station, please go to YouTube, type in Jamaican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe, and keep it going. My name is Mikey Bones. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I gone.